After Ippo executed some random guy, the title fight finally arrived. The dreams of Japan on the very shoulders of the strongest character in fiction, Mamoru Takamura, being given reassurance and praise to beat Bryan Hawk, possibly the most demonic man in boxing, and I don't mean in that way, as he enters that arena with a nasty amount of aura, leaping into the ring with a roar as the champion makes his own entrance. Smug, arrogant, and ugly, the average American. I'm kidding. But this guy is surrounded by women because he's the horniest man alive, and the crowd delivered, but even they have to admit, he isn't exactly fat. Hawk tries to get his last second provocation in, but Takamura relents because it's time. The men slowly circle around in the ring in utter silence. Seems boring until Hawk drops his arms, getting into that stance before it begins. Takamura firing a demonic left at Hawk as he stumbles back like a troll or something. Talk about a Looney Tunes exit. But that punch was in fact not dodged. It drew blood as Takamura starts spamming those lefts. Hawk's guard refusing to let up as he follows them with those jabs, trapping the man in the corner as he continues the assault. No rest for the wicked, they say, as Hawk barely dodges a left, but by God, from a nothing position he throws a right as blood spouts out. How in the hell do you fight like that? Apparently it's his specialty, that and being a predator of some kind, as he bounces around and starts pulling the most insane movement you'll ever see, bending his entire spine to dodge a punch. Get that man some opioids because I cannot imagine the back pain. Landing from an insane angle yet again, as he in a polite way starts beating the ever-loving shit out of Takamura with the most disturbing look I ever did see, as Takamura grabs the arm in frustration, trying a counterattack just to eat an uppercut that makes him look at Lucy, and Hawk is the one with diamonds, slipping with ease. Takamura is looking like a fool out there, a Tom Dick if you will, because this man starts using a maid in heaven to weave out of the way for smashing Takamura's face in with that right. I mean, does Hawk have a stand? And that punch is making Takamura question reality as he barely avoids his own decapitation. Hawk giving a pedo stare because that man is on some kind of register. But if you know Takamura, the million-point man who doesn't care, people in the crowd are telling him to get out the corner so he stays in there because he plays by his own rules. We can all respect that, as a left hits from out of nowhere, spraying blood, throwing a diabolical left to the body that's barely blocked, but Hawk still feels it because Takamura thinks he knows him, his repetitive style, landing a clean blow to that body with the tide seemingly turning, until Hawk throws somehow stupider punches. Tell me this isn't slapstick fighting on some shitty mobile game, but it's working as Takamura eats a right, and it does not look good, landing him in that corner with a level 10 Predator on the prowl, preparing to strike. Predator in both ways, by the way, and the bell rings, and this man appears to try and kill Takamura, until it's revealed he stopped, having his tongue out in disrespect. And if you know Takamura, disrespect is probably worse than death, and he'll make sure to pay that back for sure, as round 2 slowly begins, with Kamigawa giving a demonic slap in spirit. And I can only say one thing, holy fuck shit, that would hurt, nearly choking the old man. But anyway, Takamura starts speeding up, circling around Hawk. This is what Takamura Versa looks like before he completely forgets what the hell he's doing, as Hawk goes on the assault, pressing Takamura into the ropes before it clicks, as the goat starts spamming those jabs to the face, making Hawk look at every single angle in the history of Las Matematicas, as he knows what all the training was for, kicking it into maximum overdrive as he repeats the circling motion to a higher velocity, raining hell on Hawk within the center of the ring, because this man is only spamming lefts, landing a thunderous right to the jaw. God is my witness, breaking the laws of time and space with his speed, as Hawk activates his own domain expansion, hell if I know, as they collide in the center, with Takamura eating a punch as he lands down on the mat in sheer disbelief of the situation. His prize is livid. But Hawk goes on the offensive, but as you can see, there are glaring issues. Hawk is faster, and he is landing bombs, especially when Takamura finds himself against those ropes, eating a monster of a punch, so damn powerful it shifted the contrast of the screen, as he eats a right and lands down on the floor. Hawk in celebration. There is no light in those eyes. Got our favourite old man on the verge of a stroke as he slams his hands in fear, but through the power of cheering, Takamura rises to his feet like a lifeless corpse, because much to our fear, the lights are on, but there's nobody home, as Takamura weaves and just walks. The man is unconscious, and it just brings a tear to my eye, to be honest with you, waking up as he barely avoids a right, not understanding why he's so damaged. I mean, this man peels Hawk off him as he starts jabbing to no effect, but then he lands, stepping in as he lands again, the textbook of Kamigawa, landing on the bastard's shin, knocking him down to the mat. No damage naturally, as Hawk leaps up to his feet, the round ending before it can get good. Takamura literally only finds out just then that he's been knocked down twice, but he's confident because he thinks he's found Hawk's weakness, and he's going to exploit it, starting off with those left jabs as Hawk leans back, landing a left, knocking him down again. Hawk's weakness is the fact he thinks he's cool, but he's actually a bitch, and he's quite furious, as the fight begins properly with a nuclear explosion erupting in the center of the ring with their fists colliding. Imagine if your skull was in between that, straight Play-Doh, utter atomic annihilation, with Takamura lowering those hands like a slugger, and if you know, you know, with both men glaring at each other in the center, before it starts off with massive swings and barely dodge attacks, WMDs in the the ring as they have a dual exchange, as Takamura's fist nearly shatters the damn ring, stopping an earthquake with his power. As the brawl continues, Bailey dodged as Takamura throws an uppercut, because these two just start exchanging with no care in the world as our round comes to a close, an utter war. With round 4 beginning as Hawk eats a left, because Takamura is relentless. This is a brawl with Takamura taking the charge as he lands a monster right as the round ends. Yeah, this round is weirdly short for the anime. With round 5 slowly beginning, Takamura raises his arm and declares he's putting Hawk down in this round, charging to meet each other. Takamura blocking the attempted assault from Hawk, getting his backstory too. How are you gonna have a gun on another man and look like this, for God's sake? You bum. Takamura throwing a right left before slamming into a combo. But then, something is noticed with an uppercut landing as Hawk's coach, Miguel, who you may know from somewhere, does a symbol, with Hawk realizing as he throws a disgusting left to the body, making Takamura stutter before he charges right back in, and wails on that guard before landing with a right, but Hawk refuses to go down as the round ends. And this is where our problem arrives. What was the symbol? Why could Takamura overpower Hawk when they're basically the same boxer? Because Takamura was all out from the get-go, because he isn't producing sweat anymore. All the weight cutting has got to his body. Round 6 is a straight heartbreaker as Takamura eats a right, eating abuse against the ropes because he has nothing left, taking a disgusting right. Look at the violence from this apex predator as he knocks him down, but Takamura gets back up, but he does not look good. Nakota giving a motivational speech, bringing a tear to my eye, and his own, because it's just so sad as the round continues. An attempted left missing as he eats a punch, having his family in fear even though most of them suck. Eating left right with no response, because this man Hawk is not a normal man. I mean, when Miguel met him, he was trying to kill some guy. The guy deserved it, but you know, practically giving him a license to kill, as Kamigawa can just not throw in that towel. Takamura would rather die in that ring than lose like that. Eating a left, bouncing off the ropes, with the craziest dialogue of all time being read, as he eats that right, and he levitates, but he does not land, with the very spirit of Kamigawa holding him up, landing against the ropes. Why was he naked? Trust me guys, being naked grants levitational powers. A nasty left is thrown, but the spirits of those who have driven him to this very ring keep him up, throwing a left and then a brutal right with no effect, until Hawk's software starts malfunctioning. Delayed damage apparently. Takamura cannot approach, the round ending as he heads to the wrong corner. It could not be worse, could it? I mean, this man Hawk starts saying he's gonna kill him. Now keep that in mind for later naturally. With our round beginning, Takamura approaching his doom with the greatest aura you'll ever see. That's 2 anime wallpapers guys. Takamura starts eating a nasty combo as the lights go out from the right, sending him into a flashback of the weight cutting, the people who wanted him to win, the promises, but worst of all the suffering he had to go through and all that humiliation as he wakes up and throws a right, breaking Hawk's entire face before giving a galaxy-shattering rush. Had this man's eyes rolled back into his skull, and those aren't even Takamura back shots. Breathing like a wild animal, a beast, a monster possessing a human being because he is livid. Not giving Hawk a chance as he lands his left, making a mockery with his slips, landing a combo so fast a mortal could not even comprehend it. This man is running on death. He weaves with ease and he lands with ease as we prepare to see a violation on camera. A left so powerful it makes the right side of the body sigh in relief, with a right smashing against his very skull, threatening to cave it in. Another left to deliver, launching that jaw into the air, with a crushing right sending Hawks backwards. This is a recipe guys, the recipe to put a man in the ground. Vengeance in a way, with a right to the temple before landing a left on the sway back, and a left trying to obliterate the foundations of that jaw as Hawk crumples down to his knees. Meanwhile Takamura slowly wakes up in confusion. On the other hand, Hawk is realizing that Takamura wanted him dead, talking about how even in the slums he never felt this way. This man has had guns pulled on him countless times, but the monster that is Takamura has him fearing for his life. That guys is why Takamura is the greatest character in fiction, as he roars at Hawk to get up, lunging at him as the round ends, their heads colliding, one side of pure rage and the other side of pure fear. Hawk is mentally destroyed presently, especially on the stool, but Miguel has one final trump card, Hawk's pure desire driven by his ego. Look at me and if you know, you know. With the final round beginning in the deathmatch, Takamura getting his signature hairstyle, declaring the impending victory as Hawk charges in against Takamura's firm block before eating a nasty counter, with a dual exchange leaving Hawk shaky. Takamura slowly edging in the encounter, launching his head upwards and then again with blood flying away, and despite it all, there is a sense of dread in the air, even as Takamura smashes a right into that face, with Takamura throwing one final left to end it all, but then Hawk slips, fully leaning back, and it may be crunch time. throwing a tie-in of a left as it connects. But then Takamura slips his head. Look at that face. As he caves his face in with a left. He knew this man is the ideal boxer, the supreme human, the one above all.
Dick Rodden.
As the crowd stand on their feet, but against all odds, Hawk begins to rise in sheer desperation of the fragile mentality he has. Takamura already fighting with a left, launching him backwards against the ropes and a right to the chin, knocking the lights out as we get a standing countdown, each number getting progressively louder as Hawk quite literally implodes from the inside out, letting out a geyser of blood on the poor referee, which is quite vile. As the countdown is done, there is a new champion. And I cannot lie, I feel kinda bad for Hawk. He did deserve it, but brother's first title defense was against God's favorite soldier. Like, oh my god. Had this man Miyata aura forming when he left? Brother, you ain't a mood, as Takamura prepares for his victory speech. And what happens next is so funny, it might be the greatest speech of all time. With the crowd focused on him, his achievements laid bare to the world, Takamura gives his speech as the pride of Japan, before it devolves into him saying he'll give his sperm across all of Japan. And then the crowd try and execute him for it. Even funnier, we have Sendo on the verge of tears laughing his ass off because that was your master plan. I'm pretty sure he nearly gave Kamigawa a heart attack talking about sperm. Well, Kamigawa beats Takamura and berates him. Doesn't matter because he's the champion now, so I bid you adieu.